Good evening, everybody. Now, I'm just a simple man, and my name is Noah Foster. Welcome once again to another edition of 205 Life Matters. I apologize for the delay, but due to technical difficulties, which are still being persistent with Skype, because it's a friggin' piece of shit, but I digress, along with scheduling conflicts with work and life, we had to delay the recording of this, so hopefully things go better than they did last time. But again, what are you going to do? But as long as you hear us, we hope that you get the idea across. This week, of course, we're going to discuss this week's episode of 205 Live, a couple of thoughts, and our match. It's going to be a quick, simple episode for y'all. And, of course, it's the usual pairing. We are the Simple Holiday. Allow me to introduce you to my co-host for first-time viewers. He's a family man. He is a former Wrestling Trivia Challenge competitor. And, yes, that is still alive and well. Please reach out to Jeff Meacham on Twitter @_Jeff Meacham for further information. Someone has to dethrone Greg Cherry. He wants competition. He wants to pick a fight. So someone give it to him. Give him what he wants. But I digress. Anyway, it's my good friend, of course, here, the holiday, Mr. Christopher Mace. Chris, how are you? Let's see how your Skype's doing tonight.
Oh, well, Skype does tonight, that's for sure. But everything, beginning of the week, but everything's looking up better. It's got to go one day at a time. So it would like.
Yeah, that sounds about right as far as life and everything goes. So, all right, we're going to see how far we go with this, folks. And again, you know, with how far this series have gone and the fact that Skype's being a piece of shit, and I'm thinking about reworking my channel, who knows? I might actually just go simple stream with these and just literally talk off camera or live camera after we hit episode 50, and then Chris can be like the moderator. I'll have him on Skype via audio. I'm trying to rewrite the idea and outlook of this show because, again, Skype sometimes, it's effing worthless, but I digress. Anyway, so here we go. This week's episode was, of course, 205 Live, emanating from, I believe, New York. I don't remember if it was Buffalo or not, but bleh. Anyway, it was November 1st. Okay, thank you. Hey, I heard that. It was November 1st, 2019, and we start off getting a recap of Oni versus Leo from last week's 205 Live, and then they immediately follow up with Tony versus Raul, where Leo rushes like, hey, Tony, if you focus on your opponent, maybe you'll be a champion like this. Maybe you'll be the champ of the hour. And, of course, that inadvertent distraction costs Tony the match. And then we go immediately into tonight's show with the commentary team, of course, of the dynamic duo, if you want to call them that, Aiden English and Tom Phillips. I miss Vic Joseph. Anyway, our opening match was a rematch. Isaiah Scott Swerve versus Arya Davari. This match took a different approach. Chris, your thoughts on this match?
This match, I guess, I told you before, Swerve's going to be a future world champion. Mark my words, in 5 years, he's going to be a world champion. So his game as a heel with 205 in a way, how they did the match, I liked it because they changed a little bit of what they did from last week's. It wasn't the same old thing. They didn't do the exact match. They did something different. And I thought it was really well done. And like I said, for winning, like I said, that's the thing. He won again. Like I said, I want to see what he do. I think if he wins on 205 Live, we're going to eventually hopefully get him later down the line, him and Leo Rush for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. I can't wait to see how that plays out.
Well, we still got to figure out who's going to challenge Leo Rush for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, and I imagine that's going to be at NXT TakeOver War Games or Survivor Series, since both NXT is also going to be involved now on both shows, because now Battle of Brand Supremacy, at least I hope it actually is treated like that, not some bullshit. Fuck you, Raw. It's going to be Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT at Survivor Series. And stay tuned, folks, because, of course, me and the Holiday will be doing, of course, a Survivor Series preview ahead of the actual predictions that I will be doing for Team NoDQ, and he'll be doing for the Aftermatch League, which is kind of like the independent league of the NoDQ Galaxy within our little bubble of Team NoDQ contributors, such as my friend here. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was a pretty good match. Interesting approach. You know, Swerve taking it all in with the lights. He immediately gets attacked before the bell by Arya Davari to the point he's gripping his ribs. I thought he had appendicitis or something. I thought the match was actually going to be thrown out and Davari's going by forfeit. Nope. He says, ring the bell. They ring the bell and things kick off. Immediately, Swerve with a knee strike, and he gets dropped on the apron, though, spine first by Arya Davari. We get a short exchange for a little while, then a vicious throat shot. Ref being a little bit lenient there, but that was pretty close to a DQ. And then we get a rest hold for a little while, which kind of tuned out the crowd a little bit. But of course, later on, Ari Daivari, he gains the heat. Daivari taunts, takes control. And then they're jockeying for position when it comes to suplex with snap around. Swerve, of course, finally pulls off a German suplex and a kick follow up. And then when we go to the top rope, it looks like he's going to go for that diving elbow. Daivari goes for, of course, that yank. Again, I don't think he has a name for it. And then instead, we get a backhead uppercut by Swerve. Snap suplex into a flatliner, nice follow-up, near fall, nothing special here yet. Wicked drop kick, and then he counters a move into a DDT. Swerve goes into a super kick. Alright, Daivari got a mean super kick. Swerve just runs right into a boot first, literally looking up at the lights, as if he was in his entrance or something. Then we get the cross shank maneuver for our first near fall of the match. Daivari does not win there. He goes for, of course, his finisher, the hammerlock lariat. That gets countered into a roll-up, and then both men, again, Isaiah Scott Swerve goes for that kick. I don't think there's a name for that yet. I just call it Swerve's house because it gives him the win. Not here, though, because countered into a roll-up, and then a wicked Uranagi by Arya Daivari. They get exchange of chops going on, crowd gets starting into it, and then they both meet in the middle with the same idea with clotheslines, both men down. Daivari then, he gathers his composure first, goes after Swerve and says, "This is my house! This is my house! You don't belong here, you piece of garbage!" Because remember, it's PG-13. You can't say piece of shit because this isn't AEW. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, this pisses off Swerve to the point that we get some drop kicks, then he drops the legs off from Mario Daivari. I thought he was going to go for Shattered Dreams. Not really. He ends up getting out of that position, Daivari does, only to get caught on the apron and gets sweep the leg, and then he eats a double stomp from the apron to the floor. Daivari, though, he comes back into play later on with a wicked overhead belly to belly, not beta to belly, belly to belly, an actual, maneuver, a real move that could be a finish. Still wasn't enough, and then he goes for, of course, his Persian splash, again, garnering heat from the crowd, and takes it in, crashes on the splash, no water in the pool, as Mara would say. Then Swerve pulls off what I'm calling Swerve's house, that wicked kick to the ear that causes your head to rebound, and he picks up the win again on Daivari. 1, 2, 3. Swerve 2, Daivari 0. So these NXT guys, even though 205 Live is under the NXT banner, but Ari Daivari being the 205 Live original, taking on one of NXT's recent breakout tourneys' big stars, makes a statement and states his case why he belongs on 205 Live and the fact that he wants to carry it into the future and should be considered a challenge for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. Again, it was a different approach compared to the first bout. I don't think necessarily it was better, but I like the fact that the result was the same, but they made it seem like he had to work more for it. And as far as Ari Daivari goes, I don't know where he goes from here.
But you gotta like that, though. It just on that, you gotta like that, though. It wasn't the same kind of match, and it was a little more competitive because Daivari, if you can look at the storyline, if you take a loss like you did last week, you gotta change up your game plan a little bit. So I did kind of like that fact because storytelling-wise, Daivari had to change up some ideas to try to see if he could beat Swerve this time, and he still couldn't do it, even though he changed up some of his approaches from the week before. That's why I like it a little bit because that storytelling-wise, that it's nice to see a heel not do the same kind of style match that you lost last week. Try to do something different to try to pick up the win. So I like that storytelling wise.
Yep, and again, we'll see what's next for either man. Following this, we go into can we fucking drop the 24/7 title in the nearest volcano in Saudi Arabia and forget that it ever existed? This is a load of shit. As if the Singh Brothers aren't enough of a gimmick already. I understand they're the only tag team, it seems, legitimately on 205 Live, but if you're going to treat them like a real tag team, baby, and truly call them number one, and you're not going to bring our truth to 205 Live because, okay, he's over the weight, but hey, 24/7 title exists, bullshit. Fucking destroy this piece of garbage. Social media clickbait mind. But I digress. Freaking hardcore title actually put people over. It didn't defeat their purpose. Fuck this. Anyway, do you have anything further to say on the recap on the 20% picture with the Singh Brothers and R-Truth?
can we just throw the Singh brothers and the 24/7 title into the volcano at this point? Because I'm so sick of this stuff already on 205 Live. I don't want to see nothing about 24/7 title on 205 Live.
Oh, brother, and freaking Aiden English has enough of Tom Phillips freaking going goo goo gaga, gaga-eyed over, oh my gosh, I'm your biggest fan! And the Singh brothers, Jesus freaking criminy, give me a break! Rest in peace, Eugene Oakland. Anyway, moving on from there, we go into a squash match. Literally. It was Ray Jessica, and my friend could not laugh enough about this name. He just loved it. He even looked up the name. Apparently, he went to the same high school, I guess, as, what's his name? Robbie E., who used to be in Impact Wrestling. I don't know. But anyway. I don't know. My friend Paul, he was here watching SmackDown 205 Live with me, and he was very curious because he is a fan of Impact Wrestling. Folks, go look at my YouTube channel if you want an experimental series on Impact Wrestling reviewing called Impact Recap. It's up to you. Anyway, he faced a guy that we really wonder, what does he need to do? Jack Gallagher. And literally, he put on a clinic. But it was interesting how he went through this squash match because it seemed like he was like his old jovial self with all these fun moves and stuff, being the technical-based wrestler. And then he went into full-grown brawler, destroying the guy on the outside. I mean, he did the upside-down headbutt. He did the upside-down spot where he dropped his leg out. He didn't do like the unicycle pedal. He comes back down, though. He pulls off some joint manipulation and submission hold, shades of Pete Dunne, it seems. Again, being technically sound. But then he delivers a wicked headbutt that drives him out of the freaking ring, Rada. And then he follows up on that by not throwing him in the ring, into the friggin' barricade, left and right, then into the corner, and then literally runs into him, yelling, I might add, with the gentleman's dropkick into the barricade while an audience member was just recording. Brings him back into the ring and yells again, it seems, and we get another gentleman's dropkick for a decisive win, 1, 2, 3. But overall, he looked dissatisfied and maybe conflicted. Okay, I got the win. Can I follow up from here? Should I go back to the way I was? Was Drew Gulak right this whole time? What do I need to do? Does this prove anything? Do I need to prove something to myself? Your thoughts on Jack Gallagher. What do you think his mind is at?
I think he's torn right now, just like we said in previous episodes before. Like, look at what happened. Drew Gulak was torn, everything going on. He came back, reinvented himself. Tony, he was doing his thing. He was torn, hasn't been able to win a title. He's been torn. Like I said, you're doing the same thing with the gentleman here.
Yeah. It's weird to think what exactly is going on here. But, I mean, hey, Ray, I hope that paycheck was worth it. Are you still there, Chris? Chris? Okay. He's still there. I thought you froze for a moment. You might have froze. All good?
Okay, do I get you?
Yeah, do you hear me? Again, folks, Skype, not the most user-friendly. Yeah, not the most user-friendly application. I was just making sure you got your whole statement out there. Yeah, I mean, Jack Gallagher, I thought for sure he was just going to go back to NXTUK, or was WWE going to do like what they kind of did with Hideo Itami and let him go? I mean, it's just weird, but I guess we'll see what happens as he looked down at his opponent, looked down to the crowd, and then just walked away with a grimace kind of on his face. Not a smile, not like a smirk, not like, I won, but it's like, So, what happens? Following this, we get the announcement, and I'm looking forward to this because it only happens twice a year. NXT UK will be involved in next week's 205 Live because they're heading over to the UK on the European tour. So who knows what faces we'll see, and we'll get more into that later. But brief announcement, I always look forward to what I like to think this is their form of simply competition, where you get superstars of NXT UK involved in 205 Live. I wouldn't be surprised to see Flash Morgan Webster, Mark Andrews, even Noam Dar might actually return to 205 Live. But I wouldn't mind seeing new faces like, oh, I don't know, Jordan Devlin, Kenny Williams, for example. Just saying. All right. Let's see here. And then following that, we had our main events. And this is where 205 Live usually shines. They did it again. Raul Mendoza versus the NXT Cruiserweight Champion in a non-title match. Leo Rush. Chris, Take me through your thoughts on this main event and this match.
Thought it was main event actually. I like I said, Raw Menendez. I'm not gonna say his name right now. Raw Menendez, and I like Leo Rush. I think I said Leo Rush has come back. He's come back differently. He's come back more aggressive. You know, seems like he's more passionate, like he's got that fire back. And Raul Menendez, he was trying to prove a point. He wants to show everybody why should be the number one contender. Like I said, he got a big win over Tony Nese. You know, he was trying to show everybody that it wasn't because he got it by a distraction. He was a better wrestler. So I thought this match was pretty well done, and I like the fact how Leo Rush won the match with I keep wanting to call it. I think it's called the final hour. I know it's the midnight hour. And then, like I said, the show stuff afterwards, you know, like I said, sometimes it gets overplayed, sometimes it doesn't. But like I said, here, I thought it was a very good competitive match. And like I said, I like to show respect after the match.
Yeah, because people are like, okay, Leo Rush, is he a pop his heel, or is he a guy really trying to lead both NXT and 205 Live? I think you kind of got your answer here, but he still shows a little bit of that ego, per se. Not all ego, that's Ethan Page. But yeah, I thought this was a really good match. At first, they had a filling out process. Both men, they were jogging for positions with arm jacks, drop kicks. They met each other. These two are incredibly fast in the ring, too. My word. Raul gets a quick roll up after this exchange, like, that's this close. We get a lockup for a little while, then we get a wicked apron Hurricane Rana from Leo Rush, again demonstrating his speed and style. Suicide dive, but it looks like Leo Rush may have hurt himself as he clenched his ribs. And throughout this match, by the way, I might add, there are chants for Leo Rush, so clearly the people recognize him. He's over. Then again, he did wrestle up in Maryland, somewhere up there, because I know Big G told me that too. And Big G, shout out to fellow NXT member and Elite No DQ, Big G, go follow him. No DQ Little G. He is also a fan of independent wrestling. Anyway, following that, we get a wicked kick to the side of the head, not as strong as Swerve's though, and then a spinning net breaker, a very good combination. Still wasn't enough. And then for a little while, we get a rest hold. Leo Rush getting worked over, and he was just saying, if this is the way you want to stop moths fly, because again, man of the hour, I like what he did there. This is the way you got to do it. You got to ground the high flyer. Raul did that for quite a while. There was arm drag into a jawbreaker combination where Leo Rush was getting control, and then Raul runs down Leo after they denied each other twice with clotheslines. He literally runs down Leo Rush with a wicked flying kick straight in the face. And then we get a "This is awesome" chant at this point, crowd getting into it. Raul feels confident. They're both up on the apron, though. I'm like, uh-oh. And both of them are just exchanging forearms, and the crowd is getting into both. Booing Raul to a degree, cheering Leo Rush to a degree. And then we get a wicked super kick spot. But following that, Leo Rush, he brings back momentum with a handspring kick, and then the bottom rope moonsault. And I like how Andy English put over the fact that he did the bottom rope. It allowed him to get more speed off of it, too, because he didn't have to worry about so much elevation there. It was just like, snap, like that. Anyway, moving on from there, Rush with handspring, back elbow strike, and then we get a flurry of strikes from Leo Rush. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 of them I counted. And then a roundhouse kick into a near fall, still not enough. Crowd's getting into it. Following this, we get a combination of flips with a knee strike, and then this is an interesting spot, I thought, by Raul Mendoza. He literally walks the rope almost like ELP or Ray Phoenix to a degree, and delivers a wicked missile dropkick for another near fall. Still not enough. Again, really showcasing what he can bring. This was like a breakout match for Raul, in my opinion. Anyway, he falls up with an inverted power slam. A very unique maneuver. I'm not sure what you even call it. It was like a combination of an end of days and a flatliner to me. Still not enough. And then Leo Rush, he finally mounts the comeback with the come up, which is the bottom rope stunner. Again, bottom rope plays Leo Rush's favor. And I'm not just saying that because of his height. Takes out the legs of Raul Mendoza, and he finally pulls off the final hour splash. And again, it was a battle of Leo Rush's ribs being worked over, while Mendoza's knees was worked over. And in the end, it worked to a degree. But the hang time Leo Rush got, not only on his final hour splash, but afterwards when he's literally standing for like 3 seconds, feeling the jitters through his body, and finally falls into the cover. That was a very phenomenal finish, I thought. And like you said, he covered like 2/3 of the ring, by the way. Game and air. Like freaking basketball. Anyway, Leo and Raul, they exchanged a fist bump in the end. It's respect. This was about sportsmanship, but in the end, come soon, it will be about brand supremacy. While NXT and 205 Live are under the NXT banner, it's still about who has the better competition. And with both these men representing both brands per se, I think they both did a pretty damn good job. And I thought this was a stellar main event. And the crowd got into it too, for the most part, especially towards the end. So, good job to both men. And that literally concluded this episode of 205 Live. I always enjoy 205 Live when it's just the two-match setup and then a squash setup, where the squash is more about storytelling or giving you more of an idea of what this athlete brings to the table. Is he heel? Is he face? What's he doing? Etc. So while we're trying to figure out Jack Gallagher, we had another main event that was found on Sportsmanship and Respect, but Raul, I would never count him out to be put towards the title picture because I'm sure Drake Maverick was watching, hopefully not from Saudi Arabia for reasons. And then the opening match, of course, which was a rematch between Swerve and Devard that was truly a clash of 205 Live versus NXT. I thought it was a pretty stellar show overall. I would definitely give it, I'd give it 3 3/4. Chris, what would you rate this week's episode of 205 Live?
I'm gonna say I would give it a 4. And like I said, I like the difference of how they changed the matchup in the opening match. I'm glad they didn't do the same kind of match they did last week. I love the fact that they advanced the story a little bit, storytelling wise, by doing something different, a little bit differently. It wasn't the same last week. I like the fact we're doing a storyline with the gentleman, like I said, for a while. He's been in that tweener role. You don't know. One week he could be a face, one week we could be a heel. I'm hoping we'll finally establish what he wants to be, and when he does decide if he wants to be that good guy, that fun-loving guy that has fun in the ring, or if he wants to be that serious Mac technician that's got that aggressive side to him. And in the main event, like I said, this was a great main event. And like I said, to me, I think this show deserves a 4. I think for those reasons alone, I think this show deserves a 4.
You want to know why I didn't give it 4, though, right? Thanks
because
a lot. Enough said.
Well, I just ignore. I did, like I said, if we just think about them jumping into a volcano, it'll be all right.
Yeah, but still, when it's involved in the product, you can't discount it. You can't ignore it. So there it is. Again, impartial. With that being said, that concludes this week's episode of 205 Live, and I look forward to their Simply competition showcase over in the UK as NXT UK superstars will be involved on 205 Live this week. Let's go ahead and break into some nice, fun discussions with some simple stances. So I'm going to let you open it tonight. What's on your mind to discuss on simple stance?
Okay, so I was going to save this for my show that we were doing later, but I'm going to ask you since we're on your show at 205 Live.
Okay.
So for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, what do you think 205 is going to play in this scenario? What do you think it's going to do? Do you think they're going to be more for the side and help NXT out? Because, Rush was standing with us at the end of the main event on SmackDown. He was standing with them, with everybody from NXT. But you also got the other members from 205 Live as well. And if they're part of the NXT banner, I want to see them stand with NXT. But then there may be some kind of interesting storyline here. I'm wondering if they could air after SmackDown, where the people from SmackDown try to make these 205 Live guys make a choice. Who are you standing with in this? Standing with the main brand, or are you standing with the NXT guys? What are your thoughts on this? How do you see 205 Live playing out with this whole interesting we'll have Raw, SmackDown?
Well, considering that we haven't seen something like this to a degree since 2001, back when WCW and ECW were an alliance, I can kind of see that sort of angle here, because you're right. You saw Lio Rush and Isaiah Scott Swerve stand in the end with their leader, Triple H, and the NXT roster wearing NXT gears. I need to get a new NXT shirt. I need to get several shirts, but that's a whole other story. But to a degree, I can see the 205 Live guys contributing more to the invasion. I mean, to be fair, the invasion angles on SmackDown, yes, I'm calling it that. That was one of the best SmackDowns this year. Fuck you if you disagree, and also challenge me on it. I dare you. Anyway, hey. I'm uncensored. I'm unfiltered. I'm apologetic. I take no BS. It's as simple as that. Anyway, I can definitely see 205 Live playing more alongside NXT during the Survivor Series war angle, because again, Triple H, he declared war on SmackDown and Raw because again, Survivor Series is going to be all three brands. Now the question is, do I see them treating the superstars more like sports-based wrestlers or just entertainers? Because again, you got Fox who's sports-oriented, you got Raw that's entertainment-oriented, and then you have NXT, which is wrestling-oriented. Clearly, you know who I would pick on the battle, and you know what team I'm standing by. But to answer your question, I clearly see Drake Maverick, who is a free agent, technically signed to SmackDown. I could see him being kind of like a mole helping 205 Live and NXT against SmackDown, per se, sabotaging their chances. So I see 205 Live and NXT working together. And it wouldn't surprise me if I see the likes of, looking at the 205 Live roster, Ole Lorcan, for example, being part of a traditional NXT team type Survivor Series match. Because again, you got to consider a lot of the NXT roster is going to be involved in war games. So you really got to establish what your teams are going to be like between both days. Are you really going to make them work double time, or are you going to split the difference and finally, bring in some different faces per se? We know who's going to be kind of involved in war games already. What we don't know is who's going to be involved in Survivor Series at all. And clearly they're going to have to establish teams because you know they're going to have a traditional Survivor Series match. Now the question is, as far as that goes, are you going to do Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT or Raw and SmackDown versus NXT? Because in my opinion, NXT could take them both down. Because as far as I'm concerned, Raw versus SmackDown is pointless bullshit. Because you know what's going to win, Vince's twice. And that's why I feel like no matter what, the best thing to happen is NXT and 205 Live working together. Maybe even NXT UK if you can get, but that's just my opinion. What about you? How you see it? How you see 205 Live and NXT fitting together maybe in this Survivor Series war, per se?
I say where it comes down to, they won't do anything with them right now. I think what will happen is they'll wait till it gets closer to Survivor Series, and it'll be an all-out brawl. And there'll be an all-out brawl, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and they'll do it on SmackDown to have an all-out brawl. And then you have all the 205 Live guys come out there, and then you also have them staying with them. You'll have everybody that's been from 205 Live. You'll have Cedric Alexander. You have Gulak. You have all Buddy Murphy. You'll have all these guys, and then they'll stand there, and they'll look for a minute. They're not sure what they're doing, and they'll stand with the NXT guys, and they'll say,
okay.
So Cedric, Survivor Showcase, but then you'll have Cedric Alexander, Drew Gulak, Buddy Murphy, Mustafa Ali. Yes, we're going by his first name. He has a first name. And you'll have them who are, and Humberto, because you can't leave him out. And you'll have all of them stand there, all former 205 Live guys, standing with their old brand 205 Live, going up with NXT, and they'll all betray their current brands they're on and be standing with NXT and 205 Live united against Raw versus SmackDown.
I could honestly see this going further than that and being like a tease of, oh, you don't think 205 Live can stack with NXT? We're just the guys on the outside looking at Survivor Series. I could see this being like a long, drawn, played-out plan where Drake Maverick secretly assembles a 205 Live team to go after NXT, and then it looks like NXT and 205 Live are at each other's throats, and Raw and SmackDown think they can take advantage, and boom! NXT and 205 Live, they join together and take down or go straight up against Raw and SmackDown. Yeah, I can totally see that. And again, Drake Maverick being more of a manager-type role than a wrestler, I can see Drake Maverick and Triple H working together and making this thing happen. They're more than capable of doing it. And if you had moles like Drew Gulak, Cedric Alexander, Akira Tozawa, Roberto Carrillo within Raw and SmackDown literally playing in favor of NXT because 205 and NXT are allies, that would be brilliant. The bottom line is this. Team NXT for the win. They deserve it. All right.
I agree with you.
All right, that was a great stance. Let's go ahead and I'm going to just break. I already kind of talked about it a little bit, but let's just go ahead and try and fantasy book this week's episode of 205 Live. It's no stranger to the fact 205 Live NXT UK. This is one of the more competitive episodes you see on the year. And we've seen the likes of Buddy Murphy versus Mark Andrews, for example. We've seen Jack Gallagher versus Brian Kendrick and more. So I'm just going to ask you, Chris, what's the one superstar we haven't seen yet from NXT UK involved in 205 Live you would like to see involved in this week's episode of 205 Live, and who would you like him to go up against?
that we haven't seen involved. Oh, that's a good one. Because I honestly can't remember, and you're going to correct me, and I feel bad if I'm wrong. Devlin has been on 205 Live, hasn't he, or has he not been when they've gone to the UK?
I believe he hasn't.
Okay, well, good. Shoot, 'cause I had to think for a second. I know a lot of them have been on there, but I would want to see Devlin clear the Cruiserweight Championship. Let's give the UK fans something amazing that night. Let's give the crowd something. Let's put Devlin, well, like I said, one of the uncrowned European champions we all him. Let's put him in a match against Leo Rush for the Cruiserweight Championship. Let's have a damn good match. Those two together, they can make magic. I'm not saying Devlin will win the Cruiserweight Championship by no means, because I think that as hot as Leo Rush has been, he should be able to beat Devlin in a very close match. Like he could come down to the wire, something will happen where it comes down, he's able to hit his stitch on him. But I think those two could have an incredible match, show stealer for the night for 205 Live, and I'll see that when they go to BK.
Well, clearly Jordan Devlin is not bound by weights if he can still pull off the Devlin side on Dave Mastiff, and spoiler alert, and that match was freaking insane from NXT UK in itself. But the thing is, you're putting him up against a champion, and let's face it, when he's up against champions, whether it's Walter, whether it's Pete Dunne, whether it's former Universal Champion Finn Balor, he always loses. I know he looks strong in losing effort, but I kind of don't want to see him face Leo Rush if you're just setting him up to lose. But I would love to see Jordan Devlin involved in 205 Live. I agree on that. But if I were to pick one, because I'm pretty sure you're not going to see Noam Dar. Then again, I don't know what's next for the guy since Shred 7 said British Strong Style is still alive and well. If I were to pick one, I would go a little unorthodox and pick somebody who's had a mix of fortunes, but seems like every match is a learning experience for him, at least according to Nigel McGuinness. I put Kenny Williams on there and see what he could do personally. Or better yet, maybe you could make a tag team, impromptu tag team, out of Ligero and Travis Banks to take on, I don't know. Maybe Jack Gallagher finds a partner within NXT UK to get an impromptu tag match, and you build a new tag team. I feel like they're always going to have Mark Andrews involved, because I think he's been involved each time they've gone over to the UK. But again, this is about as far as who I want to truly see involved in 205 Live that we haven't yet from NXT UK. You pretty much picked my main one, Jordan Devlin. So with that being said, and looking at who's on the NXT UK roster, who's on the 205 Live roster, and what sort of matches I could see, I would like to personally see, I don't know if he qualifies, though, unfortunately, by weight. I'm just going to go with it. I want to see Tony Nese versus Eli Dragunov.
That'd be a good one. Here's another idea. If you wouldn't want to put Devlin in the NXT Championship match, you can have Devlin versus Swerve Scott. Those two tear that.
Yeah, that's true. And I haven't seen Swerve versus Devlin yet, and that could be a very dynamic match. We know the charismatic face that Swerve is, and Devlin, he probably would have the home field advantage depending on what town they're in, but I'm sure he would get booed out of the building. And he still wouldn't care. So yeah, isn't that a good one right there? All right. I think that was pretty much a nice, simple stance. Let's go.
Yeah. You got a lot of different, like I said, you have a lot of different options you can use as well. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
They do with that. They could have a show if they just figure out in books. Because I'm happy with it.
Yeah, bottom line, it's not going to disappoint us. Hey, maybe they'll figure out something to do with Travis Banks, because right now we don't know what is next for that guy. He's like so miscellaneous. The problem is on NXT UK, you seem to have a weird mid-card picture, and there's nothing for them to go for. That's the biggest fault, I think, of the brand, in my opinion.
Well, you could always do Travis Banks versus the Brian Kendrick, too. You could do that. You got the veteran, as he's doing this storyline about professional wrestlers. He could face Travis Banks. I think he could pull off a great match with Travis Banks.
True, and we haven't heard anything as far as the Brian Kendrick goes on his pub about wrestlers and professional wrestlers. And we don't know who he thinks is a professional wrestler or what he thinks is a professional wrestler in NXT UK. And you could also probably have an impromptu tag match between the Singh brothers and Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan because the governor is NXT UK. It wouldn't surprise me if they did something like that at all either. All right. So let's go ahead and wrap up this quick little episode, of course, the next one on our list. We're getting close to the nitty gritty, I think, and the real meat here. We're on, what, 13, I think, of 25?
We're on 12.
12? Okay, excuse me. All right. So, again, folks, we have watched the 205 Live brand, well, I have anyway, since its inauguration, from its best to its worst, to the mid, to the meh, to the rebuild, to what it is now, to what they're trying to make it. And while it says it's under the NXT banner, clearly that merging has not fully come to fruition yet. It's in the building stage. With that being said, we're just taking for you some great matches from the 205 Live brand that we think you should check out to learn who are some of these people that may have been there once or are still there now that can give me a great match. Who should I get into? Because everybody on 205 Live has their own unique ring style and their own character. And that's what helps makes this brand stand out and is unique. But with that being said, my number 12, you know what? No, I'm going to let you go first this time. I forget if I went first last time. What's number 12 on your list?
Rick Swann versus TJP, I told you the date the other day, December 14, 2016.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is during the time where Rick Swann was the Cruiserweight champion, TJP and Brian Kendrick and Rick Swann were all set up for a triple threat match at Roadblock, as I believe it was Roadblock at the time. And it was interesting because TJP and Rick Swann were playing, they were buddy-buddy, and TJP was able to tap Rick Swann out. He was trying to reach for the ropes, and he couldn't do it and tapped him out. And what was interesting about this, brother Brian Kendrick, I'm going to go congratulate both them, that arrogant heel at the time. He's still arrogant. But anyways, he goes there, tries to shake both their hands. TJP kicks his face off. He almost goes and kicks Rick Swann's face off. He looks at him and says, I could have done it. I could have got you. So I thought it was a great way to set up that triple threat match they had at Roadblock. So that's why it's number 12 on my list. I liked the match. I thought it was really good, really well done. It was one of my favorite TJP matches on the 205 when they introduced the 205 Live show.
It surprises me that TJP and Rich Swann never had a best of 7 series. They had like one match, and then TJP begged for another one. Didn't get it for a while. Then they did have it. Then he did win it. Then it's like Rich Swann wanted to have one more with him, but he denied him. These two could have had a best of 7 series that would have took 205 Live to the stratosphere, as much as Cesaro and Sheamus did on Monday Night Raw back when it was more watchable. But I digress. I like that a lot. That's a good one. All right, so we're thinking about wrestling right now, and we're thinking about this idea of respect. And 205 Live is all about a brand of styles, the then and the now and the future. I went a little wild with this one, as I went with a style of lucha libre versus, I guess you'd say, Japanese strong style. Strikers versus flyers, all in the name of respect and proving who is the better duo in the ring. My number 12 is Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik versus Hideo Itami, aka Kenta, and Akira Tozawa Tornado Tag Team match from April 17, 2018. Now, I know this was also before another country shows they were trying to set up a gauntlet-type thing to figure out the next contender to face Cedric Alexander, who was champ at the time at Country Redacted, for the Cruiserweight Championship. But this match was more about the fact that Hideo Itami and Akira Tozawa both have disrespected the Lucha House Party. It started subtly with Hideo Itami, then Akira Tozawa started following suit. This is when Akira Tozawa and Hideo Itami started gelling as a team before it all broke down later on. And this match here was so big, you had the fact, by the way, commentary during this was Percy Watson, Vic Joseph, and I believe it was, who was the other guy? Percy Watson, Vic Joseph. Man, it's been such a while. Was it Nigel McGuinness?
I know.
I think it was
Nigel McGuinness.
And then you had Drake Maverick on commentary for this match. And basically, they disrespected their mask and their heritage. So we had this not tag team match, tornado tag. And it went all over the place. Crowd was into it from the start. With hot chants, this is awesome. And even a moment they said, holy shit. In the very beginning, when Akira Tozawa and Hideo Itami, they came out, Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado, they came right after their asses. And it was on like nothing. So basically, this match towards later on, there is the pick out jab, my favorite spot by Akira Tozawa. But then they work on the mask, particularly Hideo Itami. He starts trying to rip the mask off of Lince Dorado as Akira Tozawa watches, and then there's a slap, mask gets ripped more and more. Great Metalik comes out of nowhere with a crazy missile drop kick. Again, Lucha House Party had the speed advantage here. The striking advantage was with Akira Tozawa and Hideo Itami. Dual moonsaults, though, from the top rope. Beautiful in sync, by the way. And then Hideo, all hell broke loose here. Hideo froze Lince Dorado over the freaking steps. And then we get a super kick out of nowhere by freaking Great Metalik, only for Akira Tozawa to do a suicide dive, drives Great Metalik into the freaking announce table. This match was all about, as they were putting over, bragging rights, and it felt personal. This was not business. This felt personal. Metalik later on with a sunset powerbomb superplex, taking out all the other men as all the men were jockeying on the top rope. And Drake Man was like, I've never seen anybody like this before in my life. I'm sure you have. And this was like the holy shit moment. Crowd was chanting, ha, ah, ah, ah. Akira and Dorado, they're exchanging with each other. Akira pulls off the senton bomb only to get double stomped by Great Metalik. Then we get springboard turned into a drop kick by Akira Tozawa, kicks the spine of Lince Dorado. Hideo, he comes back and he says, respect me! Respect me! And then Lince Dorado comes back with a golden rewind, catching both men. And then we get this is awesome chance. The crowd's really into this match. Going towards the end, though, where it looks like Hideo Itami and Great Metalik, they were jockeying for position. Hideo Itami goes for Great Metalik's match this time. And miscommunication, Akira Tozawa super kicks him in the face. For the Lucha House Party to follow up, take out Akira Tozawa, who's in a 2-1 bout. And then in the end, the Lucha House Party, they won with a elbow drop, / shooting star press, double pin combination, 1, 2, 3. And the match went about 20 minutes. Crowd was red hot for it, the whole thing. You had 2-on-2, 1-on-2, 1-on-1, everybody involved at all times, it seems. Nobody wanted to lose. An incredible physical bout that really showed a lot of what these four men could bring. And then we saw what it led to later on, especially between Akira Tozawa and Hideo Itami. So that was my number 12. Lince Dorado, Great Metalik versus Hideo Itami and Akira Tozawa, Tornado Tag Team match. And it was 205 Live's main event on April 17, 2018. Good. All right. But with that being said, we are done here for this edition of 205 Live Matters. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. I appreciate all your support. And to the critics, I'm not going anywhere and I'm not stopping. If you do this for money, good on you. I do this for personal belief and fun. I am financially sound. Simple as that. With that being said, Chris, despite Skype being a piece of shit at times, I think we pretty much got out what we needed to. And it's always a pleasure discussing this and doing this with you. Is there anything you want to plug, and where can people find you?
Y'all can find me on Facebook at Christopher Mace. You can find me on Twitter, Christopher Mace. You can find my channel, The Holiday Christopher Mace, where I do shows like The Holiday Break and Holiday View. Also have my holiday picks where we do predictions for the NXT and different shows of that nature. The last one I did was for Impact, and like I said, it's a lot of fun. Pretty much a show where we talk about different subjects about wrestling, try to get new people on different around the world, and maybe one day I'll have somebody from every state. And goal to meet one wrestling fan from every state on that show. So that'd be an awesome thing if I could pull that off. But always fun time. I appreciate the 72 subscribers I gotten so far. I'm very humbled and honored by that. And like I said, time, and like I said always, if you ever want to support anything over the NXT, you can always go to my wrestling content list, and you can find all the newest shows, a nice list on wrestling content, all the newest shows. You can click on there, and it'll send you straight to their channels and straight to their shows.
All right, simple enough. Thank you so much. We are just members of the wrestling community, just talking about wrestling and doing what we love in wrestling. Always appreciate you. And with that being said, folks, if you want to know more about little me, know this. I'm just a simple man. And if you haven't figured it out by now, I am a lifelong fan of NXT and wrestling. So if you want to follow me and talk anything wrestling from any of the WWE brands, yes, including Raw and SmackDown, where I mostly criticize them because Vince is a fucking idiot. Sorry, not sorry. But also I talk about, in a positive more matter, NXT, NXTUK, and 205 Live, as well as, but not limited to, Impact Wrestling, All Elite Wrestling, Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, Sport Independent Wrestling, folks, as well as Ring of Honor. Look me up on Twitter. NoDQ.com/Noah takes you to my Twitter page, or you can follow my civil YouTube channel here at youtube.com/user/Noah Foster210. We will find all sorts of wrestling content, predictions, recaps, reviews, summaries, streams, questionnaires, everything you can think about wrestling or you can do with wrestling, pretty much on my YouTube channel here in nice, neat places for you, new content every week. At the heart of it, of course, is this series, hashtag 205LiveMatters. I'm currently working on some new content, included but not limited to, maybe some New Japan content, also a weekly Impact Wrestling review series with the Archangel James Hebert, a fellow member of the NXT team. Go watch the first episode of the Impact Recap. Let us know what you think. It is definitely not PG-13. I warn you in advance. Also, stay tuned for further content on my channel, included but not limited to AEW Full Gear predictions with Team NXTUK, Ring of Honor Final Battle predictions, SurvivorSeries, NXT War Games outtakes and predictions, and much more. And if you haven't figured it out by now, support NoDQ. They're the reason I'm in YouTube. Forever indebted to the NoDQ family. Thank you, Aaron Biff. Buy a shirt, buy a tapestry, buy a mug, buy something. Do it. NoDQ.com/merch takes you to all of that. Follow my social media platforms. Your opinions matter. There's a comment section on everything. Polls, columns, memes, gifts, reviews, recaps, sexy female pics. You name it, it's there. Primarily wrestling, mostly WWE with a little bit of independent wrestling content, primarily AEW. And as always, I thank everybody who has joined my hashtag 205LiveMatters Facebook group. Special shout out to the 205 Live fan group on Twitter. Love being a part of that, love interacting with it. And as always, I'd like to close. Support your wrestling outlets, big and small, and let's keep growing this incredible, unique, one-of-a-kind, realistic, unscripted, unapologetic wrestling community together. Simple as that. With that, thank you so much, everybody, again, for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Go ahead, critique me if you want. I'll just talk back with you. I'm not going to insult you. You're welcome to your opinion. Appreciate, no hate. Just respect one another for what we do. And until the next video, whether here or somewhere else on YouTube, because I love being involved in the wrestling community, whether it's the Wrestling Rundown or with my friend Eric for the weekly Wednesday Night War recap, or it's with the holiday on the holiday break, whether it's with Jerry and Stefan for Rated R predictions or the reports, whether it's with somebody else you may not even know. I just love talking about wrestling, and it's all about wrestling, not about me. So until the next video, for the holiday Christopher Mace, I am just the simple man of NoDQ, Noah Foster, currently third place in the NoDQ Predictions League. And I'm coming for your title, Caitlin, at Survivor Series. I hope you all take care, make an impact in life, a positive one at that, and have a good night.
Have a good night, y'all.
And remember, whether you hate me for it or not, I don't care. 205 Live matters. Always.
Indeed.
And Funaki will always be SmackDown's number one.
Number one.
Yes, number one.